This is Spiran, a region teeming with exotic flora and fauna. It is mating season, and young males all over the area have started competing for domination and the right to breed. This particular male has felt the first stirrings of adulthood within him and is eager to answer the call. Welcome to Final Fantasy X in the wild. Finding himself alone and in want of a mate, the young male lights a fire in an attempt to attract a member of the opposite sex. Soon after, he is approached by a prospective female. But upon closer inspection, she's too young. Only barely being of childbearing age. Still, in the selection process, the young male happens upon another female. And although he is impressed by the female's capacity to potentially feed his young in overabundance, he does not deem her a suitable mate at this time. Instead, hoping to move on to younger, greener pastures. It is at this time he is presented with a suitable companion. A young female of similar age, glistening with sweat, her most attractive quality being that she is barely conscious. He tries to approach the female, but seeing as he has yet to be accepted into the herd, the male is met with resistance from the village elders, who tell him to stay away from the summoner. However, in the hope of mating, he opts to migrate with her and her guardians away from the village. Mid-migration, the male starts playing with a peculiar studded ball in an attempt to appeal to the female's delicate sensibilities. The ball's surface seemingly designed for her pleasure. The male's ball handling skills having aroused the attention of his prospective mate, the female comes out of hiding, informing him she once saw his father, the elder male, handling his balls in a similar fashion. In order to assert his dominance, the younger male begins berating his progenitor, assuring her that he would not be a suitable provider to her offspring, thereby making himself the only name in the mating game. However, a female of good prospects such as her is unlikely to have but a single suitor, so it isn't long until another comes along, pining for her affection. The second suitor dresses flamboyantly and styles his hair extravagantly in order to catch the eye of the female. Not to mention that he has his abdomen prominently displayed as a textbook example of classic peacocking. Once again, establishing his territory, the original suitor takes part in a tournament where he can exhibit his physical prowess. He emerges victorious, tickling the fancy of the female. But as the tournament draws to a close, the second suitor is given the opportunity to protect her and others from attack, proving himself not only as a climber of the social hierarchy, but also as someone who can keep her safe. Refusing to be outdone by the magnificent peacock, the original suitor leverages his good standing with the female's group to gain entry, bringing with him a more suitable father figure as a sign of good faith. Having been accepted into the herd, the young male lets out a loud mating call, using two resonating chambers situated at the back of his throat. And even though the young female is not ready to consummate their relationship, she joins him in his youthful display of virility, signaling to the rest of the herd that they have begun to negotiate their courtship. Continuing their migration, the proud peacock returns to propose a ritualized union between himself and the female. The female accepts, although it's not clear whether the union is intended as an occasion for mating or not. Having already invested considerable time courting the female, the original male disrupts the ritual of unification, claiming her for his own. Finally ready to consummate their relationship, the female submerges herself in water and wets her eyes as a signal to the male to commence mating. Joining in the delicate dance, the male performs over water mouth to mouth on her, as per tradition, before the two of them fully submerge themselves in the act of copulation. A member of the herd watching from afar, acting as a moderator to ensure fair play. The moderator, a curious figure, is sworn to secrecy, never revealing the methods of the mating ritual. And so concludes the Spiran mating ritual. The young male and female, having successfully navigated the competitive landscape of natural selection and consummated their relationship via copulation. The boar's surface seemingly designed for her pleasure.